सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Okay, so last time before we entered the Jiva and Ishvara discussion, we were discussing the creation of Jagat, and we saw how one cause alone or manifest as many. So we saw how Brahman with the upadhi of Maya, with the limiting adjunct of Maya, with Maya as its power, it manifests as all the five elements, five subtle elements, and through those five subtle elements, which gets grossified, meaning it combines in a certain way, which is called grossification. It then manifests as all these gross objects as well as all these subtle sense organs and the gross body. So this thing we saw last time, and there are a lot of steps in the creation of Jagat. So the important thing that we saw last time was that one thing alone manifests in all of these. So I am here pointing out to the last sentence that is there in the text in the description of the creation. There it says in the last step that evam pinda brahmanda yor aikyam sambhutam. In this way, there is identity between the pinda and brahmanda. What is pinda and brahmanda? Between the individual body and this cosmic body. What kind of aikyam is that there? That the individual is also made of the same subtle and of the same gross five elements and subtle five elements, and the cosmic is also made up of those same five subtle and gross elements. But what are those five subtle and gross elements? They are nothing but Brahman. So in that sense, there is commonality between this individual body as well as the cosmic body. So this part I think we didn't see, so I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention. But after going through all these steps, that's starting from Brahman with the upadhi of Maya, with the power of Maya, how the creation started, it ended up in what? In conclusion, how there is commonality between the individual and the cosmic. So this is important element because we want to see Jiva Ishvara, the Aikya, right? So then this is that important step, that the cause of the individual is also the cause of the cosmic. So then we started reviewing the Jiva and Ishvara part. What is Jiva and Ishvara? So here in Tattvabodha, it is being explained through the model of Pratibimba. But let us just get a clear understanding of what is Jiva and Ishwar, and then we will understand the Prakriya, the model that is shown by Tattvabodha. So, because we want to be clear what exactly is Jiva and what exactly is Ishvara. Because when it is said Tattvamasi, it is not that Jiva or I, as I am right now, am equal to God, as I understand God. there are some aspect of I that I need to let go, and something that needs to be retained. And similarly, something of my understanding of God needs to be dropped off, something needs to be retained, and that then there is an equation possible. So that we are trying to understand. So let's take an example of ocean and wave. So what is the substance of ocean?
Water.
Water is the substance of ocean. Uh, what is the substance of wave?
Water. Water.
Right. Water is the substance of wave. Where is wave produced from?
Ocean. Water.
Both are right.
Ocean.
Both are right. uh, right. So now let us say this wave thinks of it as Jiva, and ocean is what? Ishvara. So when we say this Jiva is Ishvara, what do we have to understand? That the substance of uh, wave is what? Water. And the substance of ocean, samashti, is what? Water. So in that sense, wave is ocean, right?
Yeah.
Wave is ocean. So in that sense also, Tattvamasi, Jiva is Ishwar. That is to be understood. But when we say Jiva is Ishwar, what is to be assimilated? That the substance of Jiva and the substance of Ishvara is one consciousness alone through different upadhi, through different form or through different standpoint is as though Jiva and as though Ishvara. This is the simple understanding. This might also be a simple understanding, but I thought we'll start with this and then enter what Tattvabodha has to say. Okay, so having had that concept clear, now we'll enter of how Tattvabodha has to say. So, what is Jiva? Stula Sharira Abhimani Jeevanamakam Brahma Pratibhimbam Bhavati. स जीवः प्रकृत्या स्वस्मात् ईश्वरं भिन्नत्वेन जानाति. Okay, so the one who is identified with gross body, that one alone is called Jiva. So what happens to the Sthula and Sukshma? Because when you are identified with a gross body, the Sthula, the Sukshma and Karan Sharir are included anyhow. Only you get identified with the gross body only through identification with the subtle body and the causal body. Right? Because
Yeah.
okay, I am aware of this gross body. How? Through my mind, through my senses. That is what? What are mind and senses? Subtle body. And how do I identify myself? I am Prachi. I am 5 feet 2 inches, whatever. What is that? My not understanding myself as it is. What is that? Ignorance of myself. So that is causal. So whenever I am identified with gross body, it is always through the two, uh, the subtle body and the causal body. So we have to understand causal body is the seed of both the gross body and the subtle body and the gross body. So Karana Sharira, causal body, through the Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, gets identified with the Sthula Sharira. Too many steps. Important thing is the one who is identified with this Sharira, gross body, that is called Jiva. So what is that Jiva? That is Brahma Pratibimba. What is the translation here? The reflection, as it were, of Brahman in Sukshma Sharira, which identifies itself with the gross body, is called Jiva. This Jiva, by nature ignorance, takes Ishvara to be different from himself. So, okay, the way it is presented here, maybe I can clarify a little bit more. So, why did I say that it is always through Sukshma Sharir one identifies with the gross body? Because they say wherever the subtle body is, Sukshma Sharir is, there is a reflection of Brahma or Chaitanya. So, the Sukshma Sharir is like a reflecting medium, like a mirror. Wherever Sukshma Sharir is, there the consciousness will always get reflected. So that is why in wherever Sukshma Sharir or subtle body is, we find sentiency. And wherever subtle body is not, we find them as insentient. Like stone. Stone doesn't have Sukshma Sharir. It is just gross. So there we don't find sentiency. Whereas in our body, there is this Sukshma Sharira, Antahakarana, which is where this Pratibimba reflection of Brahma is found, or Brahman gets reflected. Uh, just as I don't have to do anything when I am in the mirror, automatically, when I stand in front of the mirror, automatically my face gets reflected. So also in the proximity of Brahman, um, in the proximity of this, when there is Sukshma Sharir in proximity of Brahman, then there is this reflection. Don't take these words literally because we don't want to imagine two. All there is one. But this is a model to understand how it is the reflection that we are taking ourselves as individual. So Brahman sees its reflection where in the Sukshma Sharir, and then takes itself to be I am only so much. How? Just like that sun, it was seeing its reflection in the bucket of water, and what did it do? The sun saw, hey, I'm only so much, but I want to go big. I want to become big. Look at that sun. Then it sees other buckets with different sizes, and it sees kind of different. So the one identified with the reflection of one bucket sees the other, and then there is competition, then there is jealousy, then there is becoming, process of becoming, limitedness. So that's the concept, how uh, the author presents, how the Upanishads presents that there's a fundamental error that is happening. What is that error? That the sun takes itself to be the reflection. Not knowing that I am the sun, it looks at the reflection and takes that to be its reality. So I am looking at the reflection which happens to be reflecting in my antahakarana, my sukshma sharir, my mind. And because the sukshma sharir, my mind is limited, it has limitations, so the reflection is also limited. And I, having identified with that reflection, I just take myself to be so much, to be just limited to that reflection. And that is the story of Jiva. That is Jiva, and that is why I suffer from sense of limitation. In spite of being limitless, I suffer from a sense of limitation. Why? Because I'm identified wrongly with that reflection. Okay, sorry, I think we have to go. I'm sorry, Charlie. Give me 2 minutes. Yeah, I'll just sit outside. It's okay. I don't want to disturb you. I'm sorry. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, hopefully this will last. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're going out of your way to help us. We have to be appreciative. You don't have to apologize.
Yeah, so, okay. So, स एव जीवः प्रकृत्या स्वस्मात् ईश्वरं भिन्नत्वेन जानाति. So this jiva by nature, what is its nature? Ignorance. Because it is ignorant of its
You're
true
not
nature.
recording, Prachiji?
What
She's
happened?
recording. Okay, It's
Okay.
recording.
Isn't it recording?
It is, it is.
Okay. Yeah, you see it, right? I don't see the record button, but now
I
it is.
see.
I see. Okay. So, स एव जीवः प्रकृत्या स्वस्मात् ईश्वरं भिन्नत्वेन जानाति. So that jiva, this jiva by nature, what nature? Ignorance, the cause, Karan Sharir. Because of ignorance, it takes itself to be different from Ishvara. Does it make sense to everybody? Any doubt before I proceed? So basically, we are establishing that ignorance is the fundamental error. What is that ignorance? That I take my reflection to be myself. What is that reflection in? Reflecting medium.
Subtle body.
Subtle body, that is the reflecting medium. And so that is why there is lot of emphasis on Antakaran Shuddhi. What is that Antakaran Shuddhi? Because if our mirror will not be clean, if it is dirty, then how is the reflection? What kind of reflection are we going to see? Not
Distorted
clear,
one.
distorted, not clear, not dull. So we have to wipe out the mirror so that we can see our image clearly. So, and second thing is, if let us say you are looking your image yourself in a body of water, and the water is shaking, it's not still, then what will happen? That image will also not be, it will not be an abiding kind of, So that's why two things needs to happen so that our reflection is as good as the image. And then when we are told Tattvamasi, then all the doubts, etc., uh, it is more easier to accept it then. So that is why this Antakaran Shuddhi is being talked about a lot. That work upon having or creating a sattvic mind. And for that, Bhagavad Gita goes on length on how to have that state through karma yoga and etc. But and also in here as well, in Tattvabodha as well, when it was talking about adhikaritva, uh, so Bhagavad Gita talks about in that sense karma yoga. But how to implement that? So here also we talked about adhikaritva, sadhan chatushtay sampatti. So viveka vairagya is fine. Will be told that this is what you are and this is what you are not. And that mumukshutvam also is fine. We'll have a clear understanding of what exactly we want from life. But the state of mind, so that is being talked by Shama Damadi, Shatka Sampatti. So that is what we have to do in Vyavahara. What do we do in Vyavahara? We have to, we come across different situations, difficulties, and constantly we have to exercise what is right over what I like. And this becomes a process of Chitta Shuddhi. And as we grow mature in it, we do not react, our mind gains a certain tranquility, and our pratibimba, the Brahma pratibimba, that also it doesn't get agitated. When we are not agitated, we all know when our mind is agitated, we are not at peace. And when our mind is at peace, we also feel at peace. So that relative happiness, relative peace is needed to understand and assimilate this absolute peace, absolute happiness. That's Tattvamasi is what? Absolute happiness, absolute peace, which we will gain how? Only by this kind of antakaran shuddhi. We'll have to do this step of relative purification, relative peace, relative happiness. And in that mind, when it is said Tattvamasi, then this all would make sense because it can relate when I am looking at my reflection that hey, this you are Ananda Swarupa. Then yes, I can look at myself and I can, you know, uh, I can understand. Yes, I I I see it. So that seeing happens by this antakaran shuddhi. Until then, what is my understanding? I take myself to be different from Ishvara. Okay, so then let's go forward.
You may have to stop sharing and start sharing. We don't see you scrolling the text.
Stop sharing. Okay, can you see now?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so avidya upadhihi san atma jiva iti uchyate. So the awareness conditioned by the upadhi avidya is called jiva. So again, what is jiva? The same consciousness, consciousness or atma or I, when I have the upadhi of ignorance, avidya, ignorance. When I'm ignorant about myself, then that same consciousness is called jiva. The awareness conditioned by the upadhi of avidya is called jiva. And what is Ishvara? Maya upadhi san Ishvar iti uchyate. The awareness conditioned by Maya is called Ishvar. What is Maya? It is the total ignorance, the totality of all the ignorance. Uh, but then, what is the difference between the two? One, we get affected by our ignorance, whereas Ishvara is all knowing. He is a magician. Maya is his power, magic. He casts the magic on everybody, so he has the hold over everything. So even when consciousness takes the upadhi of Maya and is being called Ishvara, what? Um, so even when it takes this upadhi, it remains all knowing. He doesn't become ignorant. See, for us, when we are associated with this avidya, ignorance, we are ignorant about the fact of who we are, right? Our actual nature, we are ignorant about that fact. But with Ishwar, that is not so. He is all knowing, omniscient, omnipotent. So he is well aware of his powers and he is well aware of his true nature. as well. So that is Maya Upadhi is Ishwar. So what is the difference between Ishwar and Jiva? Upadhi Veda. One has the Upadhi of Avidya, the other has the Upadhi of Maya. And what is Maya? Maya is the combination, totality of all the Avidya. So how should we understand this? That all of us, the totality of Prachi's Avidya and Rachitaji's Avidya and everybody's Avidya, eh, and every living being's Avidya would form what? This kind of Maya. We can tentatively think about it like that. So one is the total costume and one is the individual costume. Um, so before I go to the next one, I wanted to give another example. Example of a fire. So let's say there is this fire. Uh, uh, so the holy, in holy we burn the big fire. So that, and then take the example of a little amber or even just a little spark from that same holika fire. So what is the holika fire? It's it's such huge thing, right? It's huge. And what is that spark? It's such a tiny thing. But is there any difference between the fire which is there in the holika fire and the fire in that spark or even in that amber that you have in your kitchen that you know what is the difference? The difference is only in the form, but
Magnitude.
by nature fire is the same in both. And what is that? It's what? Light and warmth. Fire is light and warmth or light and heat. So that aspect is the swarupa of fire, and that doesn't change either in that holika fire, neither does it change in that little spark of fire or that little amber. So this is what, this is the essence that the Shastra wants us to understand when it is saying that Jiva and Ishvara are one, that Jiva, Brahma, Aikya, when that is being unfolded, what it wants to say is that the essential nature of Jiva is also what? Limitless consciousness and the essential changeless consciousness, avikari, tattva, and the essential nature of Ishvara is also changeless, limitless consciousness. And in that aspect, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, or I am, that limitless consciousness holds true. So then, next sentence here is Evam Upadi Bhedat Jiva Ishvara Bheda Drishtihi Yavat Paryantam Tishtati Tavat Paryantam Janma Maranadi Rupa Sansaro Na Nivartate. So as long as on account of giving reality to this form, taking this form alone as the reality, as the ultimate reality. See, we are not saying that it doesn't exist, this form doesn't exist. What we want to say is it is not the absolute reality. There is a reality more real than this. So there is this difference between the upadhi of Maya and avidya, the individual ignorance and the total ignorance. And on account of these different costumes alone and identification with those costumes alone, the same consciousness, on one hand, from one aspect, it takes itself to be jiva, and when it takes itself to be jiva, then there is then it sees this um, costume of Maya, consciousness with the costume of Maya as Ishvara. So, only from the standpoint of a mother, or only from the standpoint of a child, the woman is a mother. Otherwise, she is just a woman. So, when do we call Ishvara? When do we call consciousness Ishvara? From the standpoint of creation, meaning when we give importance to name and form, from that standpoint alone, there is Ishvara. If somebody goes and asks to Ishvara, you created this thing, it's he would say, no, I didn't create anything. So then there is this Nirguna and Saguna. But anyways, we need not go there because those concepts are not introduced. Um, but why do I bring it? Maya Upadhi San Ishvara iti uchyate, because see, Ishvara, even having worn this costume of Maya, has not forgotten his Swarupa. That is why it is important to bring this out. That if somebody goes and asks Ishvara that you created this thing, then it was, what do you mean you created this? What creation? What creation are you talking about? That is what Ishvara's response would be. See, it is only our standpoint that we are giving importance to name and form, and we are looking this individual as this individual. And so this standpoint of Jiva and Ishvara comes
Your
from
voice is breaking up.
the stand. You can hear it now?
Can't hear you.
No, okay, I can understand why you
Ah,
can't hear it.
now it's okay.
Yeah, the internet was a little bit unstable. So, okay, so from it's only from so Ishvara doesn't see himself as the cause of creation, because to him there is no creation. There's only one thing. But we are hung up on name and form, and we are hung up with this individuality. And so for us, yes, right now everything is real. This individuality is real. This jagat is real. These different forms are real. And until we give reality to these different forms, uh, this will be this there will be this Veda of Jiva and Ishvara. So we have to understand our Yathartha Swarupa, our true nature, meaning we have to stop giving importance to this form that we perceive, and we have to go beyond it. We have to analyze, we have to go with the Shruti, with the Grantha, how it unfolds the truth to be one unchanging consciousness alone. And as we come to appreciate that fact, uh, we will be able to understand and assimilate this reality more easily. And so, this sadhan chatushtayi sampatti becomes very, very essential all through our journey. So, when we will become Gnani or Gnananishta, what will be our sadhan chatushtayi sampatti be like? 100%. 100% Vivek, 100% Vairagya, 100% Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Meaning what? Until that stage is, reached, that we understand and we don't, deviate from that understanding. Until then, we keep on working uh, on these Viveka. We strengthen it, strengthen it. How? By this Shastra Vichara, and in Vyavahara also, we keep on applying wherever needed. That okay, do the viveka. I'm going after ice cream. uh, is ice cream going to give me happiness? Eat the ice cream. We are not against eating ice cream, but that understanding should be clear, that yes, I'm eating the ice cream, but the happiness is not coming from ice cream. That understanding, if we keep on reminding ourselves, even as and when we enjoy different things, then it will be a step forward uh, in our spiritual journey. So what are they saying? एवम् उपाधिभेदात् जीव ईश्वर भेददृष्टिः यावत् पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति. So until you see this beda between Jiva and Ishvara, that I am Jiva, I am this Jiva, I am different from that Ishvara, Samashti, until this beda is there, then the cycle of birth and death is going to continue. तस्मात् कारणात् न जीव ईश्वरयोः भेद बुद्धि स्वीकार्य. So please do not accept this notion that I am a Jeev, I am different from Ishvara. Don't accept this. Why? Because if you don't get rid of this notion, then you will always be in the uh, Janma Maranadi Rupa Sansara. What is that? In the process of becoming. You will never be, um, you can never get out of this process of becoming. And what is this process of becoming like? Is there an end of the process of becoming? No. Why? Because what are you? You are limitless. And what is a process of becoming? It's just process of becoming something limited. So by becoming limited, can you understand your real nature as limitless? Never. So give up the process of becoming and understand that you are limitless. Remind yourself of the 10th man story. You are the 10th man. How are you going to discover you are the 10th man? Only when somebody points out that, hey, don't look outside. There is no need of becoming. You are not going to invent a 10th man from anywhere else. You are the 10th man. So it is all the way knowledge. But even for that knowledge to happen, that relative um, peace is required. That anxiety of, hey, the 10th man is lost, he may have died or something, all those anxiety needs to subside. And for that, Antakaran Shuddhi is emphasized like anything and is definitely required. So that is Jiva and Ishvara. Uh, so before I go to Tattvamasi, here in the last sentence, Swamiji says, I will actually just read the translation. It is one of the important sentences from another Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, that this is the truth. This is the one reality that we have to understand in our life. And if we don't understand this reality, this truth in our life, in this life, then we are, what are we doing? Um, then it's a loss. It's a great loss for us that given this human body, given this opportunity to understand the reality, we have not made enough effort to understand that reality. And we just wasted that golden opportunity. So, if one knows the self in this life itself, there is truth in one's life. On the other hand, if one does not know the self in this life, the loss is infinite. Because you don't know when you are going to get that Manushya Janma again. It is only by so much punya that you take the birth of Manushya, and so much punya that you come in, you get this desire that no, I want to understand myself, and uh, this you get associated with the Shastra, with the Guru. So it takes lot of punya to even bring us to connect us to all these things. And now to be careless and not make enough efforts, it would be a loss, a great loss. Okay, so then Tattvamasi. Nano, so a doubt is raised. Nano sa ahankarasya किञ्चिद् किञ्चिद् अज्ञस्य जीवस्य निरहङ्कारस्य सर्वज्ञस्य ईश्वरस्य तत्त्वमसि इति महावाक्यात् कथं भेदबुद्धिः स्यात्? Ubayoho viruddha dharmakrantatvat. Okay, too many tvat. So your jiva is what? Agnya, ignorant. The fellow who you call jiva, meaning I. Who am I? Agnya. I am ignorant. What kind of agnya? So ahankarasya. I have this ego, which is limited. So the jiva is ignorant. I am ignorant. Along with this ignorance, along with this ego. And what is Ishvara? Ishvara is sarvajnasya. Ishvara is all knowing. And what kind of Ishvara is it? Nirahankara. He doesn't have this limitation of ahankara. And you are telling what? You are telling Tattvamasi. You are telling that thou art. Meaning, you are that I am that Ishvara. This Mahavakya you are telling. Now, there is such a huge difference between Jiva and Ishvara, between I and Ishvara, who is all knowing. Then, how do you say Tattvamasi? This is the doubt raised. There's so much contradiction between the two. So how do you say that I'm Ishvara? We already know the process, that the substance of ocean is water, substance of wave is water, and in that sense, there is oneness. So let us see what they have to say. Iti chet, if this doubt is raised, iti chet, chet means doubt, then na, don't have this doubt. Why? Stula Sukshma Sharira Abhimani Tvam Pada Vachyartha. So when Shastra says Tvam, what is the Vachyartha? What is the uh, intended meaning, and what is the other one? Literal meaning. Huh. Well, so Vachyartha is the literal meaning. So when I say I, the literal meaning is, what do I take it as? This Prachi with body and mind, intellect. The entire personality is taken as I in my literal, in its literal sense. So here also it says what? Tvam padavachyartha stula sukshma sharira abhimani. The one that is identified with the gross and subtle body is the literal meaning of Tvam pada. You. Upadi vinirmuktam samadhi dasha sampannam shuddham chaitanyam tvam pada lakshyartha. But what does it mean? What is the intended meaning of tvam in that equation tattvamasi? The intended meaning is not the one that is identified with the gross and subtle body. The intended meaning is the one that has done that viveka of Atma Anatma Viveka, that has done that separation and now finds himself as what? The avikari tattva, the uh, um, the changeless consciousness, the Shuddha Chaitanyam. That avikari tattva is the intended meaning of Tvampada. So when we are looking at the equation, we have to let go of certain aspect of that Tvam Pada. I have to let go of when Swamiji tells me Tattvamasi, then I have to look at myself. Tvam, okay, I Prachi. So I have to let go of the Stula and Sukshma Shari. And what does let going mean? I have to stop identifying myself based on uh, the gross and subtle body. And then I will find myself as the avikari tattva. So, okay, so you remove that conditioning. What about the Ishvara? What do we have to do there? So, evam sarvagnatwadi vishishta Ishvaraha tatpada vachyartha. So, in Ishvar, what is the vachyartha? What is the literal meaning? When we hear about this word Ishvara, we automatically have this concept of Ishvara is the creator. So, is the Sarvagnya, omniscient, omnipotent, all those characteristics come in our mind. So, those are the upadhi or conditioning of this, what we
Ishvara.
call Ishvar. So, that's the literal meaning. So, what is the Lakshyartha intended meaning? Upadhi Shunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tatpad lakshyartha. So when you remove those upadhi, meaning when you dissociate, when you understand the substance of even that Ishvara, just as you understood the substance of ocean as what? Water. Similarly, when you understand this, that this Sarvajnatvadi are at one level, at the level of Upadhi, it is not always there. Good. So I wanted to bring this factor. Why do we say it is not always there? See, in Sthula, when we said in Tvampadavachya, in you, in Tvampada, Sthula and Sukshma is not the intended meaning. Why is it Upadhi? Because they are changing, and whatever is changing is different from uh, this. Whatever is changing is see. So Druk Drushya Vivek. Bring back the Druk Drushya Vivek. Bring back the seer and seen concept that we talked about last time. So when do I see gross body every time? No. In sleep, I do not see gross body. Do I see subtle body every time? No. In
No, sleep it
dream,
is not there.
in sleep, it is not there. And what about Karan Sharir? Is Karan Sharir there all the time? No. For wise person, Karan Sharir is not there. So we can negate each of these uh, Sharira in consciousness. So it is not always there. What is truth? Truth is that which can never be negated, which is always there, right? uh, if something is there right now and it is not there sometime later, then that is not what we call truth. Trikala Badit Satyam. In Tattvabodha itself, we saw this definition of what is Satya. Trikala Badit Satya. Uh, Atma Kaha. Uh, I think in that section there was this discussion. Um, और तु तत्व विवेकः कः आत्मा एकः सत्य तत् व्यतिरिक्त सर्व मिथ्या. And what is satya? That definition was given there. Trikala badita, that which cannot be negated in all three period of time in waking, that which cannot be negated in waking, that which cannot be negated in dream, that which cannot be negated in sleep. That is satya. That is truth. So, in that sense, the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira cannot be said Atma. It cannot be said truth because they are coming and going. They are incidental. How? Because in dream, Sthula Sharira is not there. In sleep, Sukshma Sharira is not there. And after knowledge, in the dawn of knowledge, Karan Sharira is not there. So we saw that at individual level. What
We
about
can't
in?
hear you again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's the internet stability that is going to affect everything.
that's
But
okay.
hopefully, okay.
I
So,
have.
how many
When
minutes?
do we plan to stop? It's 8:30 here. 8:35. Another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I can try to complete it in there. Yeah, we are almost there. So I'll just wrap up. I'll wrap up in 20 minutes. I should also. Fine. So so we understood it in individual at individual level. So same thing goes at cosmic level. Ishvara. The Sarvagnatwadi is also incidental. Omnipotent omniscience is also incidental because we have something called pralaya. We have this concept that the end of the cycle of creation, everything merges, and so with that, from that aspect, when there is no creation, Ishwar cannot be called Sarvagnatwadi, Sarvagna. Like we said, when is a woman called mother? In relative with respect to a child, the woman is called mother. So, in with respect to the creation, Ishwar is called creator. Ishwar is called Sarvagna. So, when there is no creation in Pralaya, everything merges. There is no property of Sarvagna. Uh, so that also is incidental. So, how that also is Upadhi, it is coming and going. So leave that aside. And then what remains is what? That limitless consciousness alone remains. So that was Upadhi Shunyam, that second sentence. Upadhi Shunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tadapada Lakshyartha. Evam cha Jiva Ishvarayoho Chaitanya Rupena Abhede Badhaka Abhavaha. So, in this way, there is no contradiction between Jiva and Ishvara. From the standpoint of awareness, they are one alone, which we already saw. See, Swamiji also says, on the other hand, Ishvara is Sarvagnya, Sarva Vyapi, Sarva Shaktiman. And all these are not present when at Pralay. Okay. So basically, it just uh, so you can read this sentence. I'm not going to go over that how Ram there is difference between Rama goes and red runs. The red horse runs. So there is implied meaning and literal meaning. That is what it is going over. But I think we have gone over that, so should be fine. Uh, let's see if there is anything important here. If I should read. In this textbook, Tattvabodh itself, all the earlier analysis pertains to this sentence. The analysis of the Panchakosha, Shariratraya, and the Avastatraya was the analysis of the Jiva and the pure awareness reflected by the Jiva. This is here indicated as Tvam. And the analysis of the evolution of the universe by the power of Maya through five great elements, the gross elements, and the whole objective universe was the analysis of Ishvara, which also reflects the Shuddha Chaitanya through Maya. This is indicated by Tattvabodh. And the verb asi is the verb of being and not becoming. So this is important to highlight in our mind to learn, to make a note of, because the process of realization does not involve any change. It does not involve any becoming, any action. It is just a cognitive shift that is required. The object of knowledge and the means of knowledge are same in self realization. In the study of Vedanta and pursuit of self realization, teaching by a competent teacher is extremely important and absolutely necessary. So then we come to Jivan Muktaha. एवं च वेदान्तवाक्यैः सद्गुरूपदेशेन च सर्वेषु अपि भूतेषु येषां ब्रह्मबुद्धिः उत्पन्ना ते जीवन्मुक्ताः इत्यर्थः. So, when this teaching is given, Tattvamasi, you are that thou art, by the Guruji, by our Mahatma. And what is our understanding? Our understanding is Sarveshu Bhuteshu, whatever there is in all the beings is one alone, one Brahman alone, one consciousness alone. This is our assimilated understanding. This is how we understand. Like right now, when I say, uh, this is Rachita ji, then you understand the whole body, mind, etc. as Rachita ji. Now, that cognitive shift happens that when the same Tattvamasi Vakya, through that understanding, now you understand yourself as what? Not just Rachita ji, not just Gopali ji, but you understand as Sarveshu api Bhuteshu Yesham Brahma. There is one consciousness alone in all the beings. And who is that consciousness? That consciousness I am. So, two equations. One consciousness alone is there in all the beings. living and non-living, Jada and Chetan. One alone is there in whatever I perceive, and that consciousness I am. So then that person is called Jivan Muktaha, liberated. Okay. And further question. Nanu Jivan Muktaha kaha? Who is this Jivan Mukta? Then it is said, Yatha Dehoham Purushoham Brahmanoham Shudroham Asmi iti Drada Nishchayah तथा नाहम ब्राह्मणः न शूद्रः न पुरुषः. So just as right now I have this firm conviction that I am man, I am brahmana, I am shudra, etc. There is a firm conviction. Nobody has to even midnight somebody wakes me up. I know I am prachi. Same way, when I get this cognition shift in the cognition that I am not brahmana, I am not man, etc., then that person is called Jivan Mukta. He no longer gets identified with this upadhi of Sthula, Sukshma, and Karana Sharir. Kintu, so what kind of how is this person? Asangaha. He is Asangaha. Satchidanandaha Swarupaha. Prakasha self-effulgent. Sat Chit Ananda is his Swarupa. So, Sat, we went through this. Sat means ever existing. Chit means not jada. He is not something um, insentient or not something. Um, is a conscious entity. That's what want to say. Knowledge is its swarupa, and Ananda, limitless, is its swarupa. And what else? Sarvantarayami. He is the self of all. Why? Because he is the substance of all. How is he Sarvantaryami? Just as water is the substance of all the waves, so also he is Sarvantaryami. He is the substance of everything. And Chidakasha Rupa Ha Asmi Iti Drada Nishchaya Rupa Aparoksha Gnanavan Jivan Mukta. So when these false notions are removed and he is firm that this I am not, this Purusha I am not, he firmly abides in this fact, and also he firmly knows, uh, intimately knows, I would say intimately knows himself as Satchit Ananda Prakasha Rupa Sarvantaryami, meaning self of all. I am self effulgent, I am self of all. Uh, this understanding when he has, then he is called Jivan Muktaha. There are a lot of words. Satchidananda, I am unattached. Asangaha, I am unattached. Unattached to what? Even when the Sharira, the Stula Sharira, gross body, and Sukshma Sharira are there, I am unattached. So it is not that we have to get rid of the gross body and the subtle body. It is only that association is what we have to get rid of. In that sense, he understands that even when um, I operate through this body, I am unattached to them, meaning whatever happens at the level of gross body, subtle body, mind, intellect, it does not influence me. Do not become papi on account of something that happens at the level of gross body, something that happens at the level of subtle body. So I always remain uh, sinless. There is no papa and punya at touching me. That's the understanding he gets. That is what asanga means. Uh, of the nature of Satchidananda, effulgent, indweller of all, self of all, formless awareness. Chidakasha Rupa means formless awareness. Okay, so that is Jivan Mukta. What else? Um, okay, so same Drada, Asanga, and all those concepts um are explained further, which I guess you can read it on your own. But I like this one. Just as space is not attached to nor contaminated by anything contained within or associated with it, Atma is also free. So there is air pollution. Where is air? Air is in the space. But does space get polluted? Space doesn't get polluted. So also, this Atma doesn't get polluted, even though all the Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, etc. is where? Is it actually in Atma? No, it is because of Atma. It is a different reality. It is a reality. The difference in reality is like my body and my reflection, the chaya, you know, reflection of the body. The what is it? Um, what's the word? Shadow. Sorry, my
Shadow?
body shadow.
Shadow. Mm.
Yeah, how they are different reality. Shadow is there. We can't say shadow is not there. We see shadow, so shadow is there. Shadow has a purpose to serve. If a child walks in shadow, he feels the uh, coolness, so he can escape the warmth or heat of the sun. So shadow has some reality, but it is not the ultimate reality. The body is more real than the shadow. So in the same way, Atma does not get affected, tainted by this upadhi. And the upadhi is also not different from Atma. Why? Because we saw last time everything turned out to be, Anatma turned out to be what? Brahma. But what is Brahma? Ultimately, if we say Tattvamasi, then Brahman is what? Atma. So the buck stops where? To me. It all comes back to me. Uh, whatever is, I guess, not very clear, just write down the questions. So again, this Satchit Anand existence, knowledge, bliss, we can just read through this small notes and it will sarvantaryami. So just as the cause of all, it is uh, all pervading. It is everywhere. Chidakasha aparoksha gnanam. Okay. So that after that, freedom from bondage. So brahmaivahamasmi iti aparoksha gnanena nikhila karma bandha vinirmuktah syat. So what is the result? You took so much efforts of explaining the tattvamasi, of doing sadhan chatushtai sampatti and atmanatma viveka, what is creation, and then equated tattvamasi. What are we supposed to gain from that? Freedom. After this knowledge that I alone am Brahman, or everything is Brahman alone, and that Brahman I am, when this knowledge happens, then I become free from all the bondage of karma. What is bondage of karma? Doership. The bondage of doership. It is the doership that affects me and that results in the sorrow and whatever commotion that we come across. So then I become free of all these reactions. You hear me? Or is it?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
you're good.
So that is the result. So karmani katividani santi iti chet. Okay. What kind of karma are there? So then the threefold karma are explained. Agami, sanchita, prarabdha, vedena. So we know prarabdha is whatever we have gathered uh, in this life. So uh, Bhagwan gave us a little bit of bundle. Take this money and go to a tour. That is our prarabdha for this life. That is our prarabdha, which we have to exhaust it. Prarabdha gets exhausted only by experiencing. What is agami? The future. Whatever karma we do in this life, and in whatever way it will manifest in the future as karma phala, as through its pap and punya, accumulation of pap and punya that we do in this birth, that becomes our agami karma. So that is agami karma. What is sanchit? Whatever we accumulated through past so many lives. So that is our treasure. It's like our bank balance. we did a job for so many years, 40 years, and all the investment is there in the bank. That is our sanchit karma. From that, if we pull out something, and that is our prarabdha, and if we are still doing the job, and there will be some accumulation, then that is agami. I don't know. That's
Now, these are not karmas. Why are they calling them as karmas? These are actually three types of karma phalas, right? Like the pool of a phala from the karmas that I have done and the amount that I have withdrawn in this life for spending and the amount that I'm collecting for future. These are all not karmas. They are the phalas, no? They're karma phala.
this karma phala. That's a good
Okay.
question. But I think we have to interpret by saying karma, it is interpreted as karma phala. Because why do we do karma? Anybody does
For
karma for
phala
what?
only.
For karma
Mm.
phala only. So
Mm-hmm.
it is the purpose is highlighted here, that based on we have to understand that karmani as karma phala only. Because the very next sentence is being
Okay.
said that gnana utpatti anantaram Gnani Deha Krutam Punya Papa Rupam Karma Yadasti. Okay, it is saying karma only. We can uh,
Mm.
ask Swamiji, but here he also has said result of. We have to understand karma as karma phala only here, because the intent of doing any karma is not behind karma. It is always behind the karma
Okay.
phala. So
Yeah.
the result of actions, good or bad, performed through the body of the gnani after the dawn of knowledge is known as agami.
It does say the result of actions, not the action, right?
So it's
Yeah.
the result of actions. Yeah. Agami adhiyate. Okay. So agami karma. Okay. What is sanchit karma? So then it goes again. So I don't know. Do we need to go over detail? We already have gone through it
Yeah.
in अनन्तकोटि जन्मना बीजभूतं सत् यत् कर्मजातं पूर्वजातं तिष्ठति तत् संचितं ज्ञेयम्. So whatever we have accumulated through lot of our uh, birth so far, that forms our sanchita karma, or the results of those karma, accumulated karma phala. uh, then what is prarabdha karma? Kimiti chet idam shariram utpadya इह लोके एवं सुख दुःखादि प्रदम यत् कर्म तत् प्रारब्धम भोगेन नष्टम भवति प्रारब्धम कर्मणां भोगादेव क्षयति. So whatever karma Bhagavan has given to us to enjoy the experiences, all the experiences, all kind of experiences, all the dvandva, pair of opposite, for this life, that forms our prarabdha karma. And how will it get exhausted? By experiencing alone, it will get exhausted. Whereas agami karma can be exhausted in the wake of knowledge. Even a gnani has to go through the prarabdha karma. Okay. So there is the law of karma, and that all you can read, I mean, by yourself. Okay. Freedom from bondage. So sanchitam karma brahmaivahamiti nishchaya atmak nishchayatmaka gnanena nashyati. So it is saying by knowledge what happens? The sanchita karma gets destroyed. Agami karma also gets destroyed. Uh, Only prarabdha karma remains. But what happens in the wake of knowledge? The the wise person is no longer identified with the upadhi. So even with the prarabdha karma, uh, what will happen? He will experience things. Just as when he was ignorant, he was experiencing, he will still continue to experience things. But his response will be different. He will not give reality to everything. He will still have pain of arthritis. But he will not identify himself to be I am body. So that pida will be there, but that sorrow will be gone. So that jiva srushti will be
You
gone.
know,
That sorrow will be gone.
I like a quote. I like this quote so much, right? Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional.
Yeah, yeah,
Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So that is how he will be, right? That's why even prarabdha doesn't bother him or
yes,
her.
yeah, yes. So that is in the nutshell. I'm not going over this Sanskrit part because we are a little bit short of time. But किञ्च ये ज्ञानिनं स्तुवन्ति भजन्ति अर्चयन्ति तान् प्रति ज्ञाने कृतम् आगामि पुण्यं गच्छति. Okay, so what happens to this, to his karma that is being talked of, that whoever praises this because he has done certain karma, right? So how does the agami karma gets destroyed, that is being talked of, the future result of his action, how does it get destroyed? Because if you do an action, it has to have a result. That is the principle of law of karma. For every action, there is a result. So, how will the agami karma be destroyed? So it is said that those who praise this wise person, they will get the punya. Those who they will get the papa. So we should not do the censuring of anybody in case they are wise. No, even so,
Because we don't want theirs either.
regardless, we have to do our Antarkaran Shuddhi, so we need not do any censuring. Okay. So, ye jnaninam nindanti dushanti. Those that abuse, hate, or cause pain to a gnani, they get the results of the sinful actions done by gnani. तथा च आत्मवित् संसारः संसारं तीर्त्वा ब्रह्मानन्दम् इह एव प्राप्नोति. In this manner, he gains Brahmananda, the limitless happiness, here itself, having crossed the ocean of samsara. Tarati shokam atmavit iti shruteha. So the Upanishad also quotes this thing that by knowing Atma, by knowing Brahman, by knowing myself as limitless, by knowing my fundamental reality, uh, I cross all the grief. Uh, there's that bhajan, uh, uh, मोहे लागी लटक उलटे भई मोरे नैना की सूख भव सागर सब सूख गयो. So the samsara sagar, it dries. There is no samsara sagar to begin with. We were taking it to be real. So what is the drying? It is this realization that it is not there in reality, and not associating with that those elements. Okay. इति प्रकरणं समाप्तम्.
Very nice. Thank you. I do have to
Thank
jump
you.
off for my 9 a.m. call, but thank you so much for taking the time to go through the whole text and give us the big picture. Because when we are,
Yeah, I lost you.
was very nice and helpful for me. Thank you.
Okay. Now, if
Again, again start from tomorrow.
so, tomorrow we will do Bhagavad Gita. We'll start with Bhagavad
Hmm.
Gita tomorrow, right?
Again start Tattvabodh.
No, but if you have any areas where further clarification is needed, please jot down your questions. What I will do is, whatever questions I have, I will prepare a document, and I will circulate it in our group, so that you people can also add on any questions, and then we will see when Swamiji has time. Uh, I will see if we can do it this week, then it would be good because this is still fresh in our mind. I wanted our Gujarati group also to, catch up, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do two separate thing. I'll see what Swamiji has to say. But at least let us get our questions compiled, so that we can present it to Swamiji, and then he can, give us a direction of how he would like to approach you, whether to wait for some time and then address it, or he has some time. So, okay? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Bhagavad Gita from
Thank you.
Tattvabodha.
Thank you.
Hari Om.